All right, hello and welcome again to another Artist of the Week. This week's featured pony artist is the artist No Ink. How are you doing tonight, No Ink?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, it's no problem at all. Thanks for coming on. I have a few questions here for you, just for the interest of the readers. So without further ado, let's get this started off. The first question I have here for you is, how long have you been into art?
I've been into art probably earlier than first grade. I remember drawing like on my notebook during I think kindergarten when I drew like Mario or Sonic or Luigi and Yoshi's and stuff like that. They were they were pretty bad, but I liked doing it a lot, so I just kept on doing that.
Oh.
Although I never really got serious into drawing until like third grade. I was just bored after doing math tests, so I just drew my own free time until everybody else was finished, and it grew on more from there.
Okay, so you were kind of self-taught for a little while, or have you been getting formal education?
When it comes to learning, yes, I did actually self-taught myself a lot. I just, I mean, I took a couple of tips here and there from art books and such like that, like Christopher Hart stuff. But I guess after I took formal training about 4 years ago, I had to basically unlearn some stuff from those books. They're not really that good.
Hmm. So tell me a little bit more about after you graduated high school, about your college education. How was that going?
When I was in high school, I mean, I knew that I wanted to go into animation. I just didn't know where. But after doing some research, I found one school that I was comfortable with, and I felt like, this is where I'll get the most education I can get. So I went there, and actually, I learned a lot. I don't really regret my decision. It's expensive, like most colleges are, but I think it was worth it. I fortunately had some really good teachers to help me along that actually cared if I learned anything or not.
What's the greatest benefit that you see out of going to college for artwork?
For artwork, probably I think it's more like you learn how to be motivated. You learn how to focus. That's probably one of the biggest factors. And I also think it's probably humility. That's another important factor that artists should have, is humility, because there's always somebody who will be better than you in art. And that goes for everybody. And the only thing that you can do is just get better. You just have to learn more. You just have to practice more. And you'll always get better. You never stop learning.
Okay. Would you recommend going to college to those who haven't?
Um, I really can't. I really don't have like that type of, I guess, like, no, no, I don't think so. I mean, like, it depends on the person's decision, really. I mean, like, do they have the money for it? If they don't, they probably shouldn't. I don't know. If they want to take that, I guess. There have been some cases where a well-known person never really took college education in art, and they just learned on their own time, where they just took some tutorials from the internet and just practiced on their own and just built their own portfolio. And they got some pretty good jobs in the industry just doing that.
Okay.
So it varies.
Well, let me move on from the college stuff into how you got into ponies. How did that happen?
That happened about when ponies started on the internet, the show anyway, about like 2 years ago, was it, I think?
Around there.
Yeah. I just recently attained a tablet Intuos, and that's when I actually that was like my first tool into digital art. And I can do digital art in my free time apart from college. And honestly, I was kind of reluctant at first because I really didn't know what to do, and I mean, like, it was still kind of bumpy, trying out the tablet. I mean, I was still getting used to it.
Yeah.
It was a lot different than drawing on paper. but I eventually got the hang of it. But then I decided to do like what I wanted to do. So I decided just to post my stuff on the internet and just take requests. And this was before, a little bit before Ponies, like maybe about a month before that all happened. And I started out on 4chan, and I just took requests here and there as an admin. So basically I was just a draw fag at first, if you know the term anyway.
It's probably not a professional term, but we'll go with
it. This is like a little just a little thing that some people don't know. Draw fag is just somebody on 4chan that just takes requests. It's not an insult in particular. It's just kind of like that formality, and I use that term very loosely when it comes to 4chan. But yeah. And then like when Ponies came around, like I remember it was like late into the day, like around evening, and I was just browsing just looking for stuff to do and like requests and such, and there was this thread popping up and it mentioned about My Little Pony, and I was like, really? Seriously? And so I decided to look into it, and apparently this guy, he saw like this YouTube video of like the sneak preview episode of the first episode. And he gave a link to it and said, like, it's not as bad as I expected it to be. Check it out if you have the time. So I decided to. And I was very, very surprised. It was really good. Like, as anybody else who saw the show, it's really great.
So when... sorry.
And that just got me hooked, so...
So when did you decide to stop being anonymous and take up the mantle of no ink? Where did that come from?
Right after drawing Ponies, actually. I was I was in the thread talking in the show because I was actually really interested because I just wanted to talk about the show. And somebody mentioned in before 34, and everybody just laughed at that, and I did too. And I thought, well, why not? I'll do it. I got nothing else better to do. And so I rather quickly drew the first 34 of the show, I guess, because I kind of wanted to take that claim. And it was pretty bad. I mean, like, the first stuff I did for the show was pretty bad, I admit, because I just started drawing digitally, and it was really rough here and there. So, yeah, But then somebody asked, like, who drew this? And so I decided to draw another piece to prove that I was the same guy that did it. And I decided, just call me No Ink. And it just went off from there.
All right. How have Ponies changed the way you think as an artist? Or have
like, generally from Ponies, I probably say little, but the one thing that I find is that it doesn't matter what you prefer to draw. I mean, like, if you want to draw what you want to draw, just draw it. Nobody really stopping you, only from you. I mean, like, just do what you want to do. Just draw what you want to draw. And Ponies is actually quite a good gateway on that, since the Ponies design is so simple, but you can expand so much upon it. So I guess that's the reason why it just lures artists in, because the design itself is quite genius.
Okay. You work a lot with a lot of pony artists, correct? Other pony artists?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
What have you learned from your experiences with working with the community?
And
maybe give a little detail on what you've done for the community too.
What I've done for the community. If people who are listening to this actually know about me previously, you guys know that I've actually contributed a lot in the 34 community of this show, obviously. But the one thing that I also contributed to this community was being part of the My Little Sweetheart pinup art book as well. And I actually learned a lot from that. And I mean, like, that's how I got introduced to so many of the artists of this community and just artists in general, the internet. It's networking, basically. To do that, you just have to just be interested in projects. Just Just be social. Just talk with them, and don't try to force yourself or anybody else too hard into just like getting to know them. You just let it come to you. It just happened chance. So.
Are there any artists in particular that are kind of your favorites that you like to work with?
Yes, I do. Mega Sweet is one of them. I usually color his stuff
Hmm.
because I just like it, and I actually learned a lot how to color from his stuff. I'll be honest, I actually really improved a lot by working with him, I have to say.
Would you recommend other kind of tag team duos where one person does the line, one and then the other does the colors? Is that a good way to learn?
Yeah, because actually it is a good way to learn because you have to learn how the other artist works in their mind, how they define form. It actually helps you a lot how to like, okay, so how did this person interpret that hand? How did that artist think that hand would look like in if it's in color with light in it and such. So it actually does teach you a lot about how to use color and light and form, if that makes sense.
Yeah. How have the ponies affected your life in general, or have they outside of art?
Outside of art, not a lot actually. I just enjoy the show, and I just express that just by making art. So I guess that's how they affected it. I just, and I mean, like this is pretty much the first community that I actually gotten really into because I really wasn't into any other type of fandom community or anything like that
Mhm.
apart from this one. So
Um,
yeah, I guess.
okay. Uh, what else do you do besides art on your free time?
Besides art, like apart from college and such like that.
Yeah,
Um,
the very limited free
uh,
time.
very limited free time. Yeah, that's very true. Um, Probably have a job. I do that. I also play games, read books. I read a lot of books, and also read comics and watch animation. Since I mean, like basically any of my hobbies is related to art in some way, since it helps, since it inspires me, and it just gets me motivated just to go back into my own art. So.
Any particular comics, books, or movies or games that you'd recommend at the moment?
Um, I actually would recommend Bone. That's a graphic novel. It's made by Jeff Smith. It's a great comic, great series. It's all done and everything. So all you have to do is just buy like the brick of it. This holds like the entire series in one volume. Another one would be oh man, I think Three Shadows. That's another good one. It's a French comic about I guess it's kind of like an interpretation of a kid dying and passing away and the parents accepting that. But it's told really, really well. And I liked it a lot. And the art style is just fantastic.
Oh, interesting. Are there any future projects that you're excited about?
That I'm working on right now or going to work on?
Yeah.
Yes, actually. But I can't really say what one of them is in particular since that's a secret. I can't say.
No hints?
No, no hints. I'm sorry.
Ah.
I don't want to spoil it.
What's the other one?
The other one is it's the series that I'm currently working on with Mega Sweet. It's 34, but it started like last year, and we both like it a lot, and so we just want to do more with like some more ponies and such like that. And it's like where he does the lines and I do the color, and a lot of people like it too. So just look forward to that.
All right. What's your favorite project that you've ever worked on?
Under the same.
Maybe your favorite project that you've ever done, even not on under knowing.
Okay. I think probably the favorite project was a rather recent one where it was the last quarter of college, and I worked on I worked on a production with another group of students, and basically it was just 2 quarters, 11 weeks, 11 weeks each, where we have to make an animation,
Hmm.
like about probably a little bit over a minute. And the first quarter was pre-production, where we created the concepts, like what we want to go with, the storyboarding, the character design, the conceptual drawings, like the background scenarios, all that, the script. And then after that quarter, we worked on the actual production, where we actually started doing the animation. We did a 2D animation, and it was actually a lot of fun to do. We did the story about this knight that wanted to get a better weapon so he could fight monsters better. And he got one which he really liked. And when he went into the forest and confronted the monster and drew out the sword, he realized that he wasn't quite ready to use the sword. It was useless to him, so the monster beat him up. And it was a lot of fun to do, actually. I really enjoyed it.
Is there like a YouTube link or something that we could show the viewers?
Unfortunately, no, I have
Oh.
to say. Sorry.
You'll have to work on that. Get that up.
Yeah, I guess I do have to.
I guess the final thing that I have for you tonight is what advice would you give new artists that are just trying?
Actually, I probably have to say is that you always want to learn. Um, don't don't get yourself stuck in a particular way of drawing things. Just try out new things. Just try out new things. And also, not only that, don't try to look for it. Don't try to attempt to do a style. I mean, like, I usually find that when people who are taking up into art, recently new, and they're just drawing off, usually try to, like, go for a style immediately, and usually try to, like, imitate his style or copying his style, and usually that doesn't work a lot. It basically is making a copy of something, and usually the copy's never really that great. So what I would say is that you want to take up life drawing if you're starting. Life drawing's very, very important. It's more than just like drawing like a naked person or a person in general. That's not really the case. You're just learning you're just learning what makes up a person, like what shapes make up a person. And you just apply to, like, okay, I know this arm is constructed out of this shape. What does this shape look like if it's at a different angle? You look at it this way. You're just basically building up life onto life drawing. And you just learn it, and you just actually obtain a style right from life drawing, because basically a style is something an art is. What a style is that it's an artist's interpretation of a particular thing. Like, how did they draw eyes? How did they think of eyes? How did they think of noses? What did they think of fingers? I mean, like, did they draw fingers at, like, flat ends, or did they draw them angular or draw them pointed? It all depends. It just depends on how they interpret fingers. And you get that from drawing from life. So.
Well, very, very interesting advice. That should be all of the questions I have here for you today, Noe. Was there anything else you'd like to leave the audience with?
Just thank you for looking at my stuff. I really appreciate it. Actually, I get a lot out of that. I get a lot when people enjoy my stuff, both say for work and otherwise.
Yeah. Oh, good, good. Well, Noe, thank you very much for coming on and for doing the artwork that you do. So.
All right, thanks. Thank you for having me.